Here.
Councilman Jang,
Here.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Here.
Councilwoman Rice.
Here.
We have a quorum. This meeting is open for business.
Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please bow your heads for a word of praise. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here. Please let us have a good time and let this go well as planned. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Peterson will now read our proclamations.
Whereas this 30th day of April 2019, I proclaim this day Dre Kirkpatrick Day in the city of Gadsden. The city of Gadsden is proud of Dre's professional accomplishments in his football career with the Cincinnati Bengals. Dre Kirkpatrick is a graduate of Gadsden City High School. He has a stake in the athletics program at GCHS and sponsors a youth football camp for kids throughout the county. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Samuel Peterson, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of authority vested in me, recognize the 30th day of April as Dre Kirkpatrick Day in the City of Gadsden. Whereas this 30th day of April 2019, I proclaim this day Gadsden City High School's Music Department Appreciation Day in the City of Gadsden. This day is to recognize Gadsden City High School's music department and their awards this year. The GCHS Music Department received all superior scores in competition, won Best Communities for Music Education designation from the NAM Foundation for its outstanding commitment to music education. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Samuel Peterson, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of authority vested in me, proclaim this day as GCHS Music Department Appreciation Day in the City of Gadsden. Whereas this 30th day of April 2019, I proclaim this day Ernest Calloway Day in the City of Gadsden. Ernest Calloway is a former science teacher at Emma Sansom Middle School and presently an assistant principal at Litchfield Middle. Mr. Calloway enjoyed teaching, and he taught with a great passion. He made learning fun, and his style of teaching engaged the students as he led them through understanding concepts in science. He is the epitome of an all-around great teacher. We value Mr. Calloway for his dedication to student success, not only in education, but as a productive citizen as well. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Samuel Peterson, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of authority vested in me, recognize the 30th day of April as Ernest Calloway Day in the City of Gadsden.
Is there any unfinished business?
None.
Now we will have the reading of our ordinances and resolutions. Wilkes.
Drive-in movie theater. A great way to allow citizens to enjoy a movie from the comfort of their own cars and with family and friends. It would pay for itself because it would attract many newcomers.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Ding.
Councilman Wilkes, where would this money come from and how we get it?
Well, everyone would have to put their part in. We would probably have to raise the sales tax to maybe a penny for every dollar. So it would raise it to $10 for every dollar you spend. So that would be how we come up with the income.
If you was to raise the sale tax, how long will it be raised?
Basically, long enough to actually have it built, and no longer than a year.
What kinds of movies are you trying to show at this drive-in?
The same ones in the movie theater. It's just at a cheaper cost.
Where do y'all think a good location would be for this?
I was thinking we would have to gather a group of researchers, and we'd have to find a great place and a great location for it to profit and also not compete with the movie theater.
I've done much extensive research on this, and I believe that it would be a great idea to implement this because it would cause great revenue. Because a lot of people in Gadsden would love to see a drive-in movie and not have to travel all the way to Sand Mountain to, because it would cost a lot of gas money and upon multiple other things.
Would we provide food and drink and other provisions at the drive-in movie, or would we allow customers to bring their own with them?
I feel like it could be either or. You could have food there or you could bring your own. And I feel like that would also bring in more customers. Being able to bring your own food, but also having food there would also be better.
So you're talking revenue and bringing revenue for the city, an estimate amount, the maximum and the minimum that it could bring, even if it's just a trial run?
Well, we would charge about $15 per carload, same as Sand Mountain. And from my calculations, we would generate maybe $80,000 in the first 3 months that it's opened if everything meets its standards.
Would the drive-in really be competing with the movie theater? And if so, like, what would they do with the movie theater?
I don't think it would be competing with the movie theater because it's just something different. And you would be showing different movies, different times they'd be shown, so it wouldn't be competing since we already have it.
I feel like this would be a great idea because the Endgame just came out and everyone's paying like $20 to $40. That's for the movie ticket and for the food together. And everyone's like, but as an example, as Leesburg on the outskirts, you have a drive-in there and you can bring at least a car full of people and just pay $15 there. And they basically just showed Endgame last weekend. So there you go. That's $15 you just spent on one movie for a whole group of people.
I believe it wouldn't impact really it wouldn't impact the movie theater that much at all because while some people do like the idea of like drive-ins, it's a very cute, romantic, and also a very cool experience as well. A lot of other people like to experience movies from inside of a building where sound resonates off of walls and all that stuff.
Just as he said, I don't feel like it'll be a competition thing. I think it gives everybody an option on another way to go see movies.
How will we run it for the security and not let it as where teenagers overrun it? Because I know it's going to be a place majority for teenagers. So how will we keep all of that down and keep it as smooth and running as possible and to be an actually fun and safe place? Because at the movie theaters in Gaston and the mall period in Gaston, a lot of people go there and a lot of fights do start off there. So how do we keep that different and all that away from it?
Well, just like the mall, we do have mall cops, so we could have a cop out there like a patrol officer. So I don't really think that'd be a problem.
This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Councilman Gibbs?
Gaston City Battle Zone. Family entertainment is lacking in the city of Gadsden. A paintball park will be a place to bring excitement and good, clean competition to the city.
This ordinance is now open for discussion.
Why would a young person want to go to the ballpark?
Well, I think young people, the youth, they have a lot of energy in them. And what better way to let them channel that energy than to give them paintball guns and let them shoot each other?
I feel like the paintball park would be a good idea for a new game that kids could come play that everyone would enjoy.
What would be the safety regulations for this place?
Well, that's a very easy question. I think giving them proper protection like vests and helmets, knee pads, shin pads, elbow pads, wrist pads, foot pads.
I've done research on this, and it shows that statistically more people are going to be drawn to contact sports and contact games because it gives them a little bit more enjoyment, and it's a safe game so that no one would be getting hurt.
On the comment of safety, I also feel like there should be some type of contract that parents and kids would have to sign to ensure their safety.
A waiver.
Also, this would be a good variety because there's also a level of athleticism that comes from stuff like this. So it not only would it be good, fun contact, but it would also be a healthy way to get outside and have fun with friends.
Well, insurance be a problem because this might be a bit dangerous. We might get, sued over this.
No, there would be rules and regulations. There would be certain things you would be able to do. You wouldn't be able, you don't need to be out there tackling people. But you would still have a little bit of contact, but there would be rules and regulations to prevent you from deeply hurting other people.
And as was stated earlier, we would have them sign a contract so the participants and their family will know what they're getting into and take responsibility for it.
Same.
I feel like rules and regulations would also be the same as any other contact sport that we have, like laser tag, with just a little bit more safety precautions needed.
So would this be competing with the factory that's in Rainbow City?
The factory mainly offers a bouncing and jumping experience, while this is a paintball park.
It won't be competing with anything in Rainbow City because it's Gaston, and we want to bring revenue and attractions to Gaston, not Rainbow City. Rainbow City is a different attraction, it's a different city than Gaston.
Where y'all planning to have this at?
We do not know the answer to that, but we'll sure find out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't believe this would cause competition for the factory because, like we've discussed before, this would just bring more variety out to the public. Yes, we have jumping and laser tag, but it would also be paintball. So I think it'd just be a lot more variety to the city of Gadsden.
Every time we think we have a good idea, it starts off booming, and then people start to die away from it. So how can we keep people coming in constantly?
I feel like with the paintball park, you could have an obstacle course and change it up every couple of weeks, or have nights where it's a different, you have a set night where you come in, it's a different game. It's still the paintball, but it's a different way of doing it.
Or we can have specials on different nights to change the prices.
Yeah.
What about employment? What type of people would be employed? That would just be another teenager employment, or would it be people that actually have some type of safety experience and go through, what type of qualifications do they have to meet to get the job, even if we do try to do it?
I feel like for qualifications on that, it'd be a little bit of both. Some teenagers who want to help with safety and all that, but also people who meet safety qualifications to help out with anybody who gets hurt.
This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Councilwoman Rice.
Sidewalks and crosswalks on South 11th Street. Sidewalks will help kids travel this area safely. Build sidewalks for kids who have to walk to and from school. Adding crosswalks in this area will also help prevent kids from crosswalking streets illegally and dangerously. The proposed sidewalks and crosswalks will be added to this area close to Gaston City High School.
This ordinance is now open for discussion.
Is there a need for this?
If you feel like kids just getting hit by cars and buses is okay, sure, why not?
Rice.
Many people have spoken on the issue that is very dangerous, and they see there are some sidewalks there, but not close enough to where the students are.
I feel like any precaution that is meant to, help keep kids safe is always a necessity for stuff like this. So,
Robinson.
Not only safety issues, but our principal wants people to come back and forth to school, and that could be a stop and a reason why people cannot get back and forth to school because they feel like it's dangerous or they're scared to walk in there. And some people have to walk through neighborhoods, and that can be dangerous as well because, people are crazy nowadays. So that can be another reason why we should get the sidewalks there.
Adding on to what you said, if we put sidewalks where they're needed, like adding on to what we already have, it would prevent people from having to take detours through neighborhoods that they don't feel safe in. Wilkes?
What it sounds like to me is we just need to improve our citywide transportation instead of improving the sidewalks.
Rice?
We wouldn't need citywide transportation for students who live close enough to walk to the school.
Robinson?
That's more gas that we have to pay out of our taxes, so we can just go ahead and pay for the sidewalks and get it done and over with.
Wilkes?
Most parents aren't comfortable enough to let their child walk anywhere, let alone across the street.
Well, for the kids that actually have to walk to school, that their parents are okay with them walking to school, they need a safer way of getting there instead of having to walk through neighborhoods they don't feel safe in, especially if it's later on in the day after school activity. Peterson?
A lot of kids' parents are okay with them walking to school, and the fact of the matter is, a lot of parents, while yes, they would love to take their kids to school, they do not simply have the ability to do so, to go from, say, work, school, and simply do not have the gas money for it.
Okay. This ordinance is now closed. Councilwoman Robinson?
Teen Zone, a facility designated for teenagers only. It will be a hangout for after school and on the weekends. It will be equipped with games, a learning center / computer room, and a career day. It will be accessible to all teenagers.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Jane?
Why is it only teenagers? I mean, adults would want to, play games and stuff. Why is it only teenagers?
Rice?
I feel like teenagers don't have their own place to be where there are no adults.
Meadows?
Well, it's kind of weird for a grown man and a little kid to be playing in the same room. So just to keep them away from like little pedophiles or whatever,
Wilkes?
So would this teen zone involve all activities for all people, even people with a disability?
Yes, it would have games that would cater to people who have sensitivities, like if they have sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound, sensitivity to certain kinds of like movement around them or whatever. It would cater to them, but anyone could play it. Anyone could be involved in it. That way they don't feel singled out and they don't feel bad about having something that hinders them from being with everybody else. Peterson?
I feel like this would also have certain rooms in the facility to help with people of disability. For example, they would have rooms where they could do different activities more focused on them. Like, I know some examples of kids with autism, they focus on a certain thing. Sometimes these rooms could help with classes to help them learn more about the thing that they're interested in. So.
Are we going to just drop the kids off and let them run around the room, or would we have like chaperones and certain security precautions there?
Peterson?
There would be officials there. There would be teenagers who work like in any other job, and there would also be security and basically officials like any other job, just in case if anything got out of hand.
Robinson?
You said teenagers, but you also mentioned there would be a facility for disabled people. I mean, not people, but kids, and who have, sitting in such, example, ADHD, and they have to take medicine. You said teenagers. How do you know that those teenagers are responsible enough to actually issue out that medicine? You can't just have a facility like this and just employ teenagers like any other job. What qualifications will they have to meet, especially if you're going to deal with people with disabilities?
Wilkes?
So what is this, like, how would this be competing with the YMCA and or the library? Because they sound like the same thing to me. They would be in competition directly with Gadsden funded programs.
Because here at this teen zone, I mean, we letting the kids fight, man. I mean, at the one I'm saying you can't fight, so why not?
Gibbs?
To answer Councilman Robbins' question, I believe we should have a training program for future employees that we might employ.
Or at least have a day of educating them on the differences and what's needed and what's not needed. Peterson?
Of course, we would hire officials who are better trained to help with people with disabilities. And to comment on Mr. Meadows' comment about the teen zone, there will be no fights in this facility. This is a completely safe teen zone where teenagers can come out, pay a little bit of money to get in, do anything like play video games.
But we love to see fights, bro.
No, it'd be to play video games, do homework, all the kinds of safe stuff.
Forget homework. You don't need homework no more.
Robinson?
Have y'all considered sponsors who would try to sponsor this idea, or have children that's interested in it?
Jane?
Well, I got McDonald's on call. I got Burger King. Well, and that's about it. So yeah.
This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Councilman Jang?
The city flag Gadsden is unknown to most citizens. It represents the city and its history, and consideration for new design / color will make it stand out. This flag should be displayed at each school and throughout the city. In addition, the history of the flag should be taught in our schools.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Rice?
I agree that the history of the flag should be taught, but how can we redesign it without offending anyone?
Jang?
The flag will retain its same meaning. It's simplified, so you can fly and see it better.
Wilkes?
See, when you say change the flag, I take highly offense because when I say that flag, it represents home. It represents my city of Gadsden because it's very unique.
We can still have that emblem with the 3 colors on it. I mean, I just want to put in a new color that people will be proud of. We can have a contest, like a design contest.
Robinson?
You said to put it in a new color, but the green and yellow represent something, a part of our history. So if you had 2 colors or whatever colors you wanted to put, what colors would they be and what would be the symbol of it without offending our history?
It'd be the same color. We're just simplifying it. Or I didn't say it's not the same color.
Rice?
What exactly would you change about it if the colors are staying the same?
I'm just advocating for it to be simplified. It's not very. You can't see an emblem very far away, so maybe change that design around.
Peterson?
I get that the history needs to be taught. I'm all for that. But how do we know that all of the people will agree with this change, and let alone how would we promote this change?
Gibbs?
The citizens of the United States have certain rights and amendments that they are allowed to have, such as freedom of speech, and we wouldn't just order them to get rid of the old flag. They have every right to fly the old flag if they want to. So if they still want to hold on to that, they are completely allowed to.
Wilkes?
To help my fellow councilmen out, are you implying that we have a citywide contest that everyone can basically fill out a flag, they can design it in any way that they want to?
I suggest holding like a citywide contest, and people in the city could vote on which one they like the best. So it'll be democratic, and no one can complain. We're like making decisions for the whole.
This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Flip the Falls. The Falls is a beautiful and exciting place in our city. Some changes should be made to enhance its beauty and add to the attractions, such as renovations, petting zoo, zip line, rock climbing, vendors, train updated, etc. This ordinance is now open for discussion. Gibbs?
I would like to say that I am in love with this idea. You know, the petting zoo, it feels cramped at times. You know, the Nakalula Falls is already a spectacular place to be, but I just feel like we could pizzazz it up a bit. You know, with the zip lining idea would be good. Maybe expanding the petting zoo would be good. Getting some newer animals that maybe might attract more kids even to the petting zoos.
Wilkes.
So everyone remembers when we went into the falls for the first time. Everyone remembers how we went to the petting zoo and everything was like so fun. So how come as we get older, we look at it as like, hey, that place is boring now? Because the way I see it, our younger generation looks at the falls the same way we did. So why would we need to change it?
I feel like instead of changing it, we could update everything, modernize it a little bit, clean it up, and promote it more. Peterson?
I'm in love with this idea, and I've done research in both Boaz and Gadsden to where people would enjoy if we updated, say, the zoo animals. Like you said, yes, we as a kid, we would look at it, we would see all the petting zoo animals, we think that's amazing, but maybe add a little bit more variety to it, maybe add a little bit more exotic animals, nothing too fancy, but something that everybody would like, and just adding more things. And I think people would absolutely enjoy this idea, and it would bring revenue and people from all over towns.
Gibbs.
As I said, I love this idea. I can't ignore the possible costs to completely modernize and revamp Nakalula Falls. Would we perhaps maybe add vendors first to generate revenue, or what are your guys' opinion on how to distribute the funds for this?
If we added vendors, do you think it would compete with Jack's since it's right there at the falls?
No, I do not think it will compete with Jack's, because Jack's is a fast food restaurant. They serve a certain category and type of food. With vendors, they can serve like cookies or mac and cheese or ice cream.
Rice.
In response to what Mr. Wilkes said, the falls isn't just for the kids, and adding more stuff that'll appeal to older people will make it for everybody.
Peterson.
I don't think it would come into competition with Jack's, because like he said, they are they are a restaurant, and I feel like adding vendors to this, it would only be like snack foods. Yes, you could get a hot dog here or there or something like that, but mostly it would be snack foods. And if you wanted to go for full-on dinner, you could go to Jack's. That's an option for you.
What other type of vendors besides food do you think you could add to help bring revenue back to pay for the project? Peterson?
Could be Pepsi products, could be types of Pepsi drink products, like ice cream products, anything like that any people would enjoy.
Meadows?
Maybe like art, like painting faces for little kids or clothes or something like that.
Wilkes?
I recommend a full line of Nakalula merch. We would have the store that we already have at the beginning of the gate whenever you enter Nakalula, but also further along into the actual park, we could have an actual stand having t-shirts, hats, hoodies for certain weather, all types of designs and creations for Nakalula merch.
Rice?
Other vendors would be like people who make homemade items, like he said, artwork and stuff like that would work.
Robinson?
You asking how can we think of ideas how to pay for this project? Well, we can ask, how did they come up with ideas of money for us to pay for the venue that was just recently built, and we can go from there.
Okay, thank you. This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Councilman Meadows?
Senior citizens driving test. Our senior citizens are a valuable part of our community. However, they should be required to retake of the road test at age 65 for renewal of their driver's license. Senior citizens usually drive slow, change lanes without signaling, and back up their vehicles without even looking in the mirrors. The driving retest is for their own safety as well.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Robinson?
Get senior citizens off the road. Past 60, you're done.
Rice?
What if they feel like they drive better than young people?
Robinson.
10 miles and under is not better.
Wilkes.
As a proud Gadsden citizen, I frequently see men and women over the age of 60 and even 65 frequently driving 10, maybe even 20 miles under the speed limit going down the interstate. So adding a 65 age limit for a test is very generous. We should be pushing 55.
I feel like every set number of years we should make older people take a driving test just to make sure that they can still see, make sure they still know how to drive properly, and just retest them on it to make sure that they're being safe drivers for everyone around them. Meadows.
I say they don't need to drive anymore. I mean, they live their whole entire life, so they good. Just take the bus.
Rice.
So are we gonna take their cars next and have certain people drive for them?
If they're not capable of driving themselves, we can find a way to have someone else drive for them, set up and see if there's family members that can give them rides. Peterson.
I don't know what senior citizens y'all talk to that drive 10 miles an hour or under, but everyone that I talk to, they normally drive the speed limit or a lot over it. But how would we know that all of them would not get offended? I feel like a lot of them would ask for a test of renewal for even younger kids like us.
Well, I feel like test of renewal is really good considering they shouldn't be offended by it since we're regarding their safety as well as others. For example, this morning I was driving to pick a friend up and was almost hit by an older man doing like 60. Didn't use his turning signal, tried to turn right in front of me. I was going the speed limit and he almost hit me. So I feel that a driving test is needed for anyone regardless of your age. Set it every so many years apart. That way it's somewhat accurate. Jane.
I feel like this is unnecessary because there are many driving courses out there that, insurance just cut off a bit of your insurance if you take it and pass it. Why do we have to make older people go do it? Like is out there. If they need help, they can go take it.
Rice.
Some might not feel as though they need help, and are you saying their safety isn't important?
Wilkes.
To argue with Councilman Jang, most senior citizens believe that whatever they do they do nothing wrong. So having a test, even if they pass, they get a good job. They'll be refunded for their money that they will be refunded their money when they take the test. But if they fail, their license gets removed. But if they have failed, that's a great reason for them not to be on the streets.
Okay. Thank you. This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Is there any new business?
None.
Are there any departmental reports? Okay. Remarks by the council?
I would like to thank the YMCA for sponsoring these types of events, and I would love to thank Ms. Hardrick for being able to let us come and experience what it is like in government. I've had a lot of fun here today with talking to the mayor and getting a little bit more insight on what it's like to be in the position that he's in, and I've just had a overall amazing day. So thank you all.
Rice.
I want to thank everybody that made this possible for us to be able to be here, and I learned a lot that I didn't know from the beginning, and all of my assumptions were wrong. Thanks, everybody.
Wilkes.
I want to thank the YMCA. I want to thank Ms. Katie. I want to thank everyone on the council board for allowing us to be here and walking through us what they do every day. And turns out, like, they don't really bicker and argue like it is on TV. So that's what I learned today.
Chang.
I know no one in the audience wants to be here, but thank you for being here. I can see you guys are trying to fall asleep on me.
They signed up for
We
this?
tried not to make it boring, but it looks like we failed you. But thanks, Mrs. Hardrick, and the city hall for helping us be here, I guess.
Meadows.
I just want to say thank you and thank y'all, the city councilmen and women, for not being fake as I presumed y'all to be. And I just want to say thank you, YMCA, Mr. Roy, for letting us have this and hosting this for us.
Gibbs.
I would like to thank my teacher, Mrs. Harjick, for getting me into governments and politics in general. I would like to thank the YMCA for sponsoring this type of event and finding it, and it's been a good 26 years, and happy 26th anniversary. But I would also like to thank all the other students that decided to come down here and job shadow everybody. Thank you.
Robinson?
I would like to thank my mom and my dad. I would like to thank for I am so glad that I had the opportunity to be a part of this council today. I would like to thank Ms. Hardrick for having me and everyone who sponsored it. Thank you.
Blair?
Okay. I'd like to thank Ms. Hardrick for choosing me to be the city clerk for today, and I'd also like to thank Ms. Nelson, who is the city clerk of Gadsden, because without her, it seems like council members don't really run. They need a lot of help. They can't do all of this alone. Like, it's all of them, and it's about 9 people running one big city. Gadsden is a pretty big city, so I'd like to thank Ms. Nelson for telling me all about what she did today. She's a very strong person, and from my hear, she is the best. And today I've seen you really are the best. And thank you for all that you taught me, as well as Ms. Hardrick and all the people that are here today.
I want to thank Miss Katie, Miss Nelson, the entire council, everyone that came to Job Shadow and that are sitting here listening to us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for, having feedback. Thank you to the city council for giving us this experience and teaching us more about stuff that we didn't really know much about. Wow, we're done. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council is now adjourned.